What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me whatever you want. What do you think of that? 1 frame per second life. Nah, we got maybe 2 frames per second. Hold on. Let me kill a couple things over here. Maybe the frame rate will get a little bit better. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. This is your question and answer stream. And we're going to do some tiny whooping around Studio 2 here. I am taking apart a couple of whoops real quick here to swap the motors around. And then we might even RipSqueak around the neighborhood. I think if I put the little USB VRX up by the window here, I think I can fly around out there with the RipSqueaks. I've got the 1505 analog only, like just straight FPV, no run cam hybrid RipSqueak here that's set up to carry the Insta360 Go 2 either in front here normally, or my like obsession for a couple of years now, but I haven't done it much. But this is This is amazing. This is what you were just seeing in the opening footage. This is just such a fun little camera angle. It's 30 degrees up tilt, but on the bottom under. And the mount, it's this really cool mount that McConnell Studios has designed that also holds the Immortal T. That's an Immortal, here you can see it. That's an Immortal T holder there, and then it's got a couple tabs on the bottom for the BQE style Insta360 Go 2 holders. It's just really cool. Admittedly, I do wish that this was a little bit farther down, but the farther down you put this, the harder it is to fly. What ends up happening, what you could kind of see there, is if I just fly dead straight at a good speed, you don't catch like the frame is exactly in the spot where like you want to see where you're going. If you're turning, it's fine because you can kind of like look. If you're turning to the right, you kind of can look over here. But when you're just going dead straight, it's just not quite low enough. But as long as you're wiggling the sticks and whopping all around, it actually works really, really well. Yeah, RipSqueak life, yo. The RipSqueaks are by BQE. So I've got that one with the Toka 1505s. That's like the big, crazy, powerful RipSqueak. Lately, I've been really impressed by this one. We were talking about this the other day on the stream. This battery is dead. This is one of the other RipSqueaks that it was on 1804s, just to see, just for kind of experimenting. I moved it over to these Pyrodrone Hyperlite 1404.5, 4,522 kV, really high kV for a motor of this size. And I've got it at the moment on these Gemfan 3520s. And this is nuts. These are all set up for 4S. This has kind of opened my eyes that we need a little bit more kV. These Toka 1505s, the iFlight Zing 1504s, the Emax 1306s, the RCX 1306s, those motors are all 3,800, 3,900, 4,000 kV, which is enough. Like that is enough kV. But these 4500s, even on the bigger 3.5-inch prop, they just keep making more and more power. And even though it's a smaller stator, 1404.5 stator, they make a bunch more power than these rigs with the bigger motors. But it's not so much kV that it's kind of, it's not able to get to that highest kV. Basically, these motors made me realize that we're leaving a little bit of performance on the table with these other RipSqueak builds that I've got, because they're not putting enough RPM into the propeller. Admittedly, I do need to try a couple of different propellers, but these Gemfan 3520s are, in my experience, as draggy, as much of a chore to turn, for the motor to turn, as any of the 3-inch props, other than maybe like the 3052s. The 3052s might be a little bit more draggy. My sort of process with testing motors is I put them on a propeller that initially I'll usually put them onto a propeller that I think is going to be too much for them, so that I can feel that in the air, and you can also see it in the amp draw, and you can see it in the battery life as well. And then I'll back it down, less pitch, less pitch, less pitch, less pitch, until I get to like a happy setup. And amazingly, yeah, this does not seem to be overpropped, which is wild. Also kind of good news, that means that we don't need to go with as big of a motor. You know, these Toka 1505s are great, but it's a big, heavy motor. And, you know, out on the ends of the arms, that is not great. Although, to be honest, the micros don't have nearly as much of an issue as 5-inch rigs do in terms of weight on the ends of the arms. They're so lightweight and snappy as it is that it just kind of works. But this is probably what will fly, because I've only got like 3 or 4 batteries on this, and I'm just staggered at how well this flies for this small of a motor. So I want to spend more and more, as much time on this rig as I possibly can to get dialed in on these motors, and then when I fly the other rigs, I can hopefully feel a difference. But yeah, kind of interesting. We don't have a lot of smooth running motors right now, which is kind of annoying. But you know, maybe this is the perfect motor for these lighter weight, like 240, 250 gram RipSqueaks. I don't know. It's I'm always trying to sort of refine that as much as I possibly can. And yeah, that's about it. That's about all we're going to be doing today. Pretty straightforward little live stream from Studio 2. In the chat, Imp FPV was first. He said hello again, CiottiFPV and everybody. Long time not seen. Apache Smoke, Wind Sniper, Mr. Huggy, Chopper FPV, J Drones, Garrett, Dan636, CMYK FPV, David Mugami, Aircon, Super Deluxe, CMYK again, Riot 9, That Guy Grand, Squirrely Borked, Danzilla the Terrible. Danzilla, I know I owe you a response on which brass collars are the right ones to get, but I'm still waiting on Matt McConnell to get back to me. He fitted some of the extra long ones, and they seem like they're a little bit too long. A common problem. Am I right? Yeah, we're gonna get that figured out. I mean, they'll work. The really long ones will work, but they're literally poking into the duct area. So if you run the perfectly wrong combination of motor and propeller, the propeller could potentially hit the damn thing, and we obviously don't want that. So yeah. What we're talking about here for the uninitiated is the best, in my opinion, but most others' opinions, that have actually tried multiple Cinewhoops. The best Cinewhoop frame is the FPV Cycle Cinesplore for a litany of different reasons. And then the best ducts for them are the HQ poured Stan FPV ducts. But unfortunately, Stan is not interested in putting metal collars into the ducts. He just threads the plastic and then gives you these big long screws, and then you thread it into the plastic, and it's totally fine until you crash once, and then it strips the plastic all out. Stan's solution at that point is just to put a torch on the metal screw. The metal screw will then heat up and it'll kind of rethread the plastic. But basically every single time you crash, the duct is going to come loose, which is going to do two things. It's going to potentially make the rig unflyable, and that's a total deal breaker for me, right? Because if you're flying somewhere unrecoverable, you just lost all your footage on a Cinewhoop, right? Cinewhoops are tools for filmmaking. Kind of important to get your footage back, right? A lot of times it's a one-time only thing, right? Your cast and crew is in one place all together for one shoot. You can't just like, hey guys, everybody come back tomorrow. I've got another $100,000 to spend, right? Like, you can't expect the producer or director to do that, nor will they ever. And it also leaves you with something that like you're afraid to crash, right? Like anything that you've had experiences with failing, right? Like you don't fly that the same. You don't fly that as aggressively. You don't fly that as comfortably. So yeah, the brass collars that you guys have seen a million times. I don't have one floating around here, but yeah, those little tiny brass collars that are usually used to adapt M2 to M3. You can put those into 3D printed ducts. Bob from FPV Cycle actually has a video how to do that in his V3 3D printed ducts. And you can do that on these ducts, and it works really well. But if you hit that duct hard enough, and you got to hit it really hard, in fairness, but if you hit it hard enough, that those short little metal collars that we're used to, they will smash out of the side of the plastic. Well, on Amazon, you can get much taller brass collars. So McConnell and I both bought bags of 100 of the tallest ones, which are, I think the normal ones are like 3 or 4 millimeters tall. These ones that him and I got are like at least 10, maybe 12 millimeters tall. But when he put one into a duct, it goes so deep into the duct that because of the angle of it, it starts to poke out on the inside. And there's a potential that the prop could then come around and hit it. So we're trying to figure out the right length, because on eBay there's like 4 millimeter tall, 6 millimeter tall, 8 millimeter tall, 10, maybe even 12. So yeah, we're trying to figure that out. There you guys go. Cinesplore is the best Cinewhoop. Period. No questions asked. In my pretty well researched opinion. One of the best things about the Cinewhoop, the Cinesplore rather, is that you have a bunch of different duct options. And the ducts are really easy to change out. They just take 3 M2 screws each. It's something that you can totally do like on the fly, at the gig kind of thing. So if a duct breaks, you can swap it out really quick, or if all of a sudden you go from needing to fly completely safely around talent at 3 miles an hour to needing to chase a car down the street at 30 miles an hour, you can swap from the really tall Cloud 149 duct, which is my favorite for really low speed stuff, to the really skinny Thingiverse 3D printable ducts, and have a rig that, you know, completely changes its performance window just from that duct change. And yeah, it's pretty slick. And then there's a million other benefits to the frame, but one of the other big ones is it's the lightest weight of the Cinewhoop frames, and a lightweight Cinewhoop flies much better than a heavyweight one. The whole point of a Cinewhoop, right, is that you want it to be laser accurate so that you can shoot those tiny little gaps just repeatedly over and over and over again. So when the rig is really heavy, it's the opposite of that. When a Cinewhoop is really heavy, all it wants to do is slide around because it's got all that extra momentum, and that makes repeatability of hitting tight gaps, that's what she said, difficult. Know what I'm saying? You don't, but I just told you, so there you go. What is this going to be? Props out, so this motor is going to go here. All right, cool. All right, let me get caught up on chat here, but first, this is my full-time job. CiottiFPV.com is the way that you can support me if you like these live streams and you'd like to see them continue. Support the people that make the content that you like. Patreon helps me out the most. For $3 whole a month, you can get on board with the collective. You'll get access to the Discord channel, tons of technical articles that I've written. There's a playlist here on YouTube for patrons only with like 90 some odd videos, unreleased stuff, Patreon only live streams, sketchy stuff that I don't want to be public, you know, like a little bit, yeah, sketchy flying. What else? Not super sketchy, but just, you know, like building dives that you know, the road wasn't closed, for example, stuff like that. I tend to not be full-blown reckless, but there's just some stuff that it's like, yeah, no reason to have this public. This is for the super supporters of mine. Click thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. It all helps. It's all, you know, you guys hanging out here helps as well. So everything you guys do is awesome. There's an Etsy store with a bunch of t-shirts like this one. I'm sorry, that's not on the Etsy store, that's on the Teespring store. There's a Teespring with shirts like this, Etsy store with some fun stickers and some random hardware that might help you on your next build, so you're not caught out waiting for shit to arrive. And a whole bunch of affiliate links. Next time you're doing an FPV order, think of your gangly buddy, and maybe I'll have an affiliate link to it. It's free money. There's no reason to not use an affiliate link every single time you do an FPV or an Amazon order. It's free money for those of us that are creating this content that you know, can enjoy for free if you'd like here on YouTube. Or you can support us by hopping onto Patreon. It's the best way to support content creators. There's a reason that most content creators have Patreon pages, because like Patreon takes the least amount, they take the least percentage away from you, and it's just a perfect little spot to put like unreleased stuff and yeah, Patreon is a brilliant website that has allowed a lot of really cool creative people to make a career out of making really cool, creative shit. So yeah, support us if you don't mind. If you have a couple extra bucks, 10 cents a day, you can do it. Or if you want to spend more, you can get in on bi-weekly giveaways. This Monday is a giveaway live stream. I give away typically around $200-ish, maybe a little bit less than that. It varies though. $200-ish worth of stuff every other Monday to patrons that are on the 5, 10, 20 and up tiers. So yeah, head on over to Patreon, click some buttons. Super Deluxe with a $19.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, my dude. What's up, Super? How are you, man? CMYK says, what's up? Squirrely super chatted $2. Thank you very much, Squirrely. I'm going to read your comment once I scroll down a little bit. I'm very behind on chat. CMYK says, what's up? Danzilla the Terrible says, happy Sunday. Thanks again, Super Deluxe. Michael Blade says, what's up, bro? YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up to find my place. Tommy Noose says, what's up, Pete's? CiottiFPV, how's everyone? Peeps, rather, not Pete's. Tommy Noose also says, it will work. I used to do it all the time. LOL. What will work, Tommy? I don't know what we're talking about. 661 says, BQE has been out of stock on everything for months now. I'm kind of worried. Let me shoot Bill a quick message and ask him if everything is okay. There he is. How to bean. All right, cool. I have sent Bill a message. I'll let you guys know if he gets back to me. Bill is a fellow mental illness struggly, so he'll have periods where he'll kind of disappear for a little bit. I'm used to that, but usually it's not quite that long of a period of time. So I'll make sure he's doing okay. Thanks for letting me know, homie. Somebody told me that a couple of streams ago, and I meant to message Bill afterwards, but I forgot. John Goblin says, have you tried the new HQ prop 3.5 by 2.5 by 3? I have not, but I don't know. Either it's a typo on your side. In one of the more recent FPV crates, there was an HQ 3.5 by 2 by 3. I have not seen a 3.5 by 2.5 by 3. I would love that. The Gemfans are 3.5 by 2 by 3. And I was kind of disappointed that HQ did that exact same pitch. Like that's just a waste. Like that's just kind of pandering to people that refuse to fly Gemfan, right? People that are Team HQ. It's like, oh, here's the exact same prop, but like it doesn't. It's stupid to do that because it doesn't allow us to like refine anything, you know? Like typically between HQ and Gemfan, they'll at least change the pitch a little bit. Like usually HQ won't just straight copy off of Gemfan and do the exact same propeller size and pitch. So I was pretty disappointed to see that because the 3.5 by 2, like it's a great prop, but it's not quite pitchy enough. Like we could definitely benefit from a little bit more pitch, which we get with the Emax Avan 3.5s, but they're 3.5 by 2.4, I believe it is, by 3. But the problem is, and it's the same problem with the HQs, is that they're T-mount only. And some of the motors that are big enough, have enough stator volume to spin a 3.5-inch prop are M5 nut only, like the X-Nova. The X-Nova 1804 is arguably the best propeller for a 3.5-inch prop, but it's M5 mount. And that's the other problem with the HQ 3.5 is that they don't have the really slick T-mount and M5 setup that Gemfan does. So the HQ 3.5 is as worthless as the Emax Avan. Well, so there's kind of no reason for the HQ, right? Because like if you want a 3.5 by 2, you might as well run the Gemfan because it's M5 nut and it's T-mount, and the blade profile has a lot more going on, so it's more efficient and more thrusty. So yeah, the HQ 3.5 is just kind of like, you know, the only people that are going to buy this are people that are just diehard HQ fans. People that care about like performance and stuff like that are not going to get this. If they want something that's this low of a pitch, they're going to get the Gemfan. Or if they want something that's more pitchy, they're going to get the Emax Avan. The only motors that really shine, that are the only T-mount motors that really shine with these 3.5s. So basically what I'm saying here is that the only motor that's going to really work well with that HQ prop is the... and I have very, very, very high standards. So like most people won't even notice this, but I definitely do. Is the Toka 1505. But here's the thing. I've got the same size and pitch propeller on these 1404.5 4500s, and they hammer. So yeah, the water is a little muddied right now for me in terms of stator size versus RPM, but getting to the bottom of it. I just need to fly some more. I just need to fly these different setups a little bit more. It's been, I took a little bit of a break from these. I got a little burned out towards the end of the year last year, constantly building and repairing these RipSqueaks. I ended up with 4 builds though, which was great. That really helped me test motors head to head. But yeah, I got burned out building them. So I took a little bit of a break, which is good because that was going into Tinywhoop season. So we got to really put a whole bunch of time into Tinywhoops this winter, and nail down some of the best motors and whatnot. But yeah, I'm going to dive a little bit back into it now that it's warmer out, and yeah, start getting some more refinement there. I'm also going to be entering into the era of digital 3-inch rigs. I'm intrigued by using the DJI goggle DVR as HD footage. The American Criterium cycling gig that I flew live really kind of opened my eyes to how good the DJI feed looks. The RunCam hybrid still definitely looks better, and the Insta360 Go 2 looks even better than the RunCam hybrid. But the Insta360 Go 2 is very expensive and kind of fragile. The RunCam hybrid is kind of finicky, although it is lightweight, but it is analog only. So yeah, for the DJI folks, I feel like the AOS 3.5 frame, which does not have props in view of the FPV feed because the camera is so far forward, I think that's a pretty viable option in getting some really decent 3-inch footage. And yeah, I'll let you know. That's not the very next build. I think the very next build is the Lumineer QAVS Pro, I want to say it's called. It's the box frame with the carbon fiber prop protection, basically. But after I finish that build, then it's going to be the AOS 3.5 build. So it should happen pretty quick within the next couple weeks here, hopefully. Good question, John Goblin. Yeah, but I am going to be flying those HQ 3.5 by 2 by 3s. I'll back-to-back them with the Gemfans. I've done this a bunch of times where I back-to-back HQ props and Gemfan props that are roughly the same size and pitch, and every single time the exact same thing happens, which is that the Gemfan blade profile is more aerodynamic, more sort of modern, and that leaves you with a propeller that in the air is literally quieter because it's managing the aero better. And that also leads to a little bit more efficiency and a little bit more thrust. Usually the pitch is a little bit different between the two props, like I was talking about earlier. In this case, the pitch is exactly the same, so it's going to be even more obvious. But nothing wrong with that. More options is a good thing. I just wish that it's just silly that HQ did an exact copy of the Gemfan size and pitch. That's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, maybe it was a Friday and they just needed to bang out a prop, and they were just like, yeah, screw it. Gemfan already figured it out for us. Just copy them. That's just me, making things up. The Sky is Mine FPV says, new pilot name, what do you think? AKA Martin Wynn. Very cool. The Sky is Mine. I like that. Denzel the Terrible says, no rush. I'm still here. And I know not too long. Michael D says, hello and happy Sunday. McConnell Studios is in the house. He says, drop link for the eBay inserts. I'll get some and tinker. I'm just going to, Amazon, Matt. I'm just going to go on Amazon and I probably still have the tab opened at home. Yeah, I'll find them. Have you had a chance to look at them again to kind of estimate how much less you think, how much less they should be? That guy Grand says, opinion on better Cinewhoop for Hero 910, ProTech 35, or Cinelog 35. The ProTechs are the worst of the Cinewhoops. The duct design seems to me to be 100% about making it cool looking and 0% about actual aerodynamics. That's just sort of conjecture on my part, but I'll put it this way. Have you ever seen anything ever on a craft that flies, right? Airplane, helicopter, whatever. Have you ever seen anything that flies through the air use an octagon rather than a circle? I haven't. So yeah, and I've talked to a lot of people about the ProTech rigs, because I'm working with Joshua Bardwell on a Cinewhoop section of his website, FPV Know It All. And I have yet to find a single person with a ProTech that doesn't hate it. Maybe there's somebody here in the chat, but I've talked to about a dozen people that have ProTechs, and they're all just like, worst thing I've ever, like, just the fucking worst. It does, I'll say this, it does look cool, and for most people, Cinewhoops just sit on the wall anyway. What happens with most people is they get bored of regular old freestyle rigs. They see everybody flying Cinewhoops on professional gigs. They go, oh, that looks like fun. They buy a Cinewhoop. But most people are not flying professional gigs. They fly a Cinewhoop in their regular freestyle spot. It flies horrible because they're not aerodynamic at all. They fly it like once or twice more. It still flies horrible. They put it on the wall. It stays on the wall for a year or two. They sell it. So if you're not booking professional gigs, maybe the ProTech is a better choice because it is going to look cooler on your wall. Or at least not necessarily professional gigs, but if you don't have a Cinewhoop is a tool. It's not a freestyle rig. It's not something that can do like freestyle and chase drift cars and do all these different things. Like, it's a very specific tool, right? Like it's that set of pliers with like a weird bend on the end and then like a claw so that it can specifically grab fuel line hose clips only. You can't use it for anything else. You can't use it as a regular pair of pliers. You can't use it as a hammer. It just has this one job, and it does that job really, really well. But if you don't have a use, like if you don't have a situation that requires that, right? Like flying around talent subjects, stuff like that, they're not fun to fly. They're fun to fly in those scenarios. Like I've had more fun flying Cinewhoops around, really important people, because like there's an unbelievable stress level and shit like that, and it's just kind of fun. But yeah, to just fly for fun, it doesn't work, and unless you have a very specific situation. So yeah, between those two rigs, Cinelog 35 is definitely a better bet. But again, if you're going to spend money on a Cinewhoop, in my opinion, make sure that you have a specific situation that hopefully is going to happen more than once, right? Like that's kind of the other thing, is that like, you know, somebody will like have a friend that there'll be like a one-time thing, event coming up, and it's like, oh, I need a Cinewhoop for that. Great. And they'll spend $300-400 on a Cinewhoop. They'll fly that one event, and then it's like, oh, well, that was a one-time only event. And then again, it just kind of sits on the wall. So keep that in mind. I hate to see people spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars and not get the money out of it. You know what I mean? And that's a pretty common thing with Cinewhoops, because again, they fly like shit. they don't fly good. Just because the ducts make them extremely, they have the aerodynamics of a brick. And aerodynamics are a huge deal for us because we're flying in the sky with the air. Squirrely FPV, nope, just regular old Squirrely. With a $2 super chat, he says, do you ever use DJI on micros or all analog? At the moment, all analog. Thank you for the support, Squirrely. But like I was just talking about, I am diving down the DJI rabbit hole with micros. It ends up being about the same amount of weight as a. I've stayed away from it because I haven't been on DJI until very recently. But now that some super supportive folks have sent me a ton of DJI stuff earlier this year, it only makes sense to build a couple. And also with this American Crit bike racing series wanting to bring me on for at least one more event, it makes sense to have a DJI micro or two. So yeah, I've got a couple of frames that are kind of specifically made for DJI. The D-Quad Mini LRX is one of them. The AOS 3.5 is another. Jesus, that was tough to get off. So yeah, it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest, because being able to see where you're going is pretty slick, and micros are slow enough where the latency on the DJI system doesn't make nearly as much of a difference. 5-inch freestyle rigs, I'm still very much on the fence. I still think I'm leaning towards analog as being the right option for those. But we'll see. Once I get the DJI freezing, hopefully if I can get the DJI freezing momentarily problem figured out, that'll help. But yeah, we'll see. Motortune says, FPV Cycle is blowing out the 23mm tall motors with 12x12 mount, so I decided to put them on a Tooth Fairy 2 with thick 5-inch arms. Good idea or best idea? I think if you cannot crash it, you're going to be okay. If you crash it, what I think is going to happen is you're going to obliterate the M2 hardware. So yeah, that is an awful lot of motor. That is going to be a hell of an overpowered rig, which will be fun. But yeah, you got to make sure you don't crash that rig, because the Tooth Fairy 2 uses M2 hardware for the arm mounting bolts, and I have issues with M3 hardware on the arm mounting bolts. So M2 hardware is going to be kind of a nightmare. So yeah, just don't crash it and you'll be fine. Just don't crash. It's the answer to all FPV problems, guys. Did you know that? Just don't crash. Just, actually, don't even fly. Just don't even fly. Oh, you're having problems with your rig? Oh, just don't even fly it. That's the solution. That's the solution. Oh, you have a motor that's twitching? Just don't fly that rig. Just quit FPV completely. Just don't crash. Just don't crash. That's it. That's the solution. Christ. Have I made it obvious enough that people that answer questions on Facebook with "just don't crash" should be beaten with a hammer? Why is this? What's happening here? I think it's fine. No, we got that. Michael D says, speaking about affiliate links, your FPV Exchange affiliate link is still broken. God damn it. All right. Michael D, can you do me a huge favor? Can you shoot me a fucking message somewhere? I will forget. I forgot it last time you told me. I will forget it by the end of the stream. If you can't, that's okay. But if possible, can you send me a message? Jackalope FPV says we have to send Riot 9 through the spank machine. It's his birthday today. Jesus Christ. Spank machine. Happy birthday, Riot 9. Hope you're having a good day, brother. I have nothing to say about the spank machine. Tommy News says the flight from your room. The flight from your room. I have no idea what that's in reference to, Tommy. The flight from your room. I'm gonna fly from this room in a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know what that's in reference to, Tommy. Tag me again and give me more to go on. I don't know what we're talking about here. Doc Cock, thank you for having that name so that I can say Doc Cock. With a £5 super chat, he says, enjoying 1404 4600 kV on 3-inch. Any advantages on going to a bigger motor? Also, stripped T-motor threads. Any suggestions? Stripped threads on a motor. It's the bells are aluminum, so it's going to be a real bastard to kind of rethread that. Probably no hope there, unfortunately. Luckily, motors are pretty cheap, so just snag another one. Who makes a 1404 4600? I haven't really looked at. It sounds like T-motor, unless you're talking about two different motors. But yeah, I'm gonna be looking more at 1404s now. I'm gonna see if maybe 1404s are in fact enough for these RipSqueaks. And 4600 kV is looking like it's gonna be a really good kV. So that's interesting. In terms of any advantage going to a bigger motor, that depends completely upon the all-up weight of the rig and how much power you personally want. So I know it sounds super obvious, but if that current setup is not making enough power for you, and you've already tried more pitchy props and you know less all-up weight and all the other tricks, then yeah, you might benefit from a motor with more stator volume. But I've been pretty blown away by these 1404.5s. I'm kind of shocked how much power they make. So yeah, maybe, I don't know. I always challenge people to try to fly with as little power as possible because it's going to literally make you fly better. The less power your rig has, the better your throttle resolution is, right? Our throttle stick only moves about this much. And we've got from 0 to like thousands of grams of thrust in this tiny little throw. So if you can bring it from 1,000 grams of thrust down to 900 grams of thrust in that same throttle travel, when you make a little tiny throttle movement, instead of the rig jumping up in the air, it's going to just move up in the air a little bit. And if you're trying to like fly really low to the ground, that makes it look a lot better. It makes you look like a much better pilot because you can just hug the ground a lot better rather than like bouncing up and down as you try to fly low to the ground. Flying low to the ground is like the test. It's one of the ways that you can tell a good pilot from a great pilot. If you have them fly like 3 inches off the ground, a good pilot will be like 3 inches, 6 inches, 3 inches, 5 inches. Like they'll just kind of do this the whole time. A great pilot can slam down on the ground and just trace a damn near flat, perfect line, and it just looks so cool, in my opinion. So there you go. Thanks again for the support, Doc Cock, and the opportunity to say your name yet again. Pablo DiBiase says, sometimes I get a sudden jolt in one of the motors. Totally random. Happens on both my quad stock settings. Any idea what it could be? if you've got something that's happening on more than one quad, chances are it's the transmitter. And a very common thing on transmitters after a while is for the potentiometers in the gimbals to start shitting the bed. So if the sudden jolt is like yaw or pitch or roll every single time, more than likely that's your transmitter. Bind up to somebody else's transmitter and fly those two rigs and see if it's still happening. That's the cheapest way to kind of figure that out. Yeah, very, very, very rare that you'll get the exact same failure on board of two completely different rigs. So yeah, check your transmitter. That's probably it. John Goblin says the 3.5 by 2.5 are brand new. Check Newbie Drone. Very cool. Let's take a look because I am curious at how similar they are to the 3.5 by 2s. Do any of the keystrokes work on this laptop? Nope. Nope, none of them. Not one. Hey, I lied. Nope, that ain't it. I want monitor. There we go. Easy, Newbie Drone. Easy with the scrolling. It's making me dizzy. All right. Where are they at? Where are they at? They don't look like they're here. Let's go into propellers and 3.5. All right, what we got here? Come on. So there's the Gemfans. Here's the Gemfan 90s. I am not seeing them. Propellers. Let's just go directly to HQ. And there they are. That blade profile looks exactly like the 3.5 by 2 by 3. This is kind of exciting. I'm not gonna lie. I was super disappointed that the ones that I saw were 3.5 by 2. This is really cool as long as they're well balanced, which they should be. Although HQ has a history of putting out props every so often that are not well balanced. These should actually. I mean, it sucks that they're T-mount only. So, well, you know what? It kind of doesn't matter that these exist because the Emax A-Vans are better. The Emax A... Well, no. Okay. So the Emax A-Van 3.5 is a way more efficient, way more thrusty blade profile than this. There's a chance that this might be a little bit more durable. So that might be the use for this, if the Emax A-Vans are not durable enough. But the A-Vans are T-mount only, just like these, so you can't run them on the 1804s, which is a shame. I mean, the long and short of it is there aren't many motors that have enough stator volume to really turn these. The Toka 1505 is kind of the only one. And yeah, I don't know. This is interesting though. It's great that we have another pitch option, although it is kind of the same pitch, 2.5 versus 2.4 on the Emax A-Vans. If I was gonna fly a T-mount only 3.5, I would fly the Emax A-Van 100% of the time over these. The blade profile is way more modern, way more sophisticated, but there's a chance that these are a little bit more durable, I guess. Interesting. I'm shocked that they've put out two 3.5-inch props. This 3.5 by 2.5 and the 3.5 by 2s that I've got. I guess maybe they looked at the existing 3.5-inch props that are out there and then they just copied the pitch on both of them, right? They copied Gemfan's pitch, 2 pitch, and then they copied Emax A-Van's pitch, 2.5, 2.4. If you guys want... Here, let me show you what I'm talking about in terms of the profile of the blade. Emax A-Van 3.5 inch. I mean, you could just see it, even from like a huge picture like this. You can just see there's a lot more going on in the profile of these blades here. This is an oh, and look, it's a 2.8. I didn't realize it was a 2.8. So I guess that's kind of cool. We've got the HQ at 2.5, we've got the Emax at 2.8, and then the Gemfan and the other HQ at 2.0. So I guess that makes sense. But I mean, to be honest, this propeller outperforms all of the other ones big time. This is the one to have. This is the 3.5 inch prop to have for sure. Anybody that's flown these Emax Scimitars is like, holy shit. I mean, like, from the moment you take off, you can just hear it. Like, they're just whisper quiet in the air, and then you dig into the throttle, and it's just like, wow, okay. These are legit. But, so, by the way, there is an older version of this Emax Avan Scimitar 3.5 by 2.8 that is M5 mount. It's actually, they kind of copied off of Gemfan's M5 T-mount setup. If you have any of those old 3.5 inch Scimitars that are both M5 mount and T-mount, I will buy them off of you for much more than they're worth. I have a couple of sets, but yeah, I will take as many of these as I can get. I've never been able to find a picture of them online because they sold them very briefly. But yeah, the center of the hub has a little insert, just like Gemfan's little insert. So you can pull the insert out and run an M5 shaft through them, like what the X-Nova 1804s have, or you can put the little insert in. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of info that nobody asked for about 3.5 inch props. 661 says, I know he's lost his dad recently, so that might be slowing him down. Thanks for checking in on him. Yeah, I was talking to him when that all went down, trying to make sure that he was okay. But yeah, I don't know. Riot9 says, oh, how bad was that F1 footage? Yeah, that was a shame. FPV got a little bit of a bad name in the F1 community because I don't know, man. Like the quad was flying horribly. Which could have been wind. It could have been a very windy day. But I flew a fucking Cinesplore with the ducts removed at the American Crit cycling event in 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, and my footage was fucking great. So I don't know what the hell the deal was with that pilot and his gear at the F1 event, but not good, man. Like, one of the things that, yeah, I don't know. Like, when I tell you guys to wait as long as you possibly can before you do paying gigs, this is kind of one of the reasons. Like, we don't want FPV to get a bad name. And flying on gigs is a whole different world. Like, it's very, very stressful. I mean, technically, it could have been that guy's thumb. It could have been that pilot's thumbs, because it was a crazy high-risk situation. And F1 is like the pinnacle of motorsports, and it's nuts, man. Like, there's fanfare, there's chaos, there's a lot going on. I assume that it wasn't, but I don't know. It just kind of maybe feels like they did not do their homework, and they just hired any old FPV pilot that happened to be in the area or something like that, and they showed up with gear that was not totally dialed in for 30, 40 mile an hour wind, right? Like that's one of the things that I do as somebody that tries to be very professional with this shit, is like, I check the wind. Like, if there's going to be a lot of wind at a gig, like, I'll kind of look at my gear and be like, all right, what gear do I have that has not been dialed in the wind? Like, I try to go out and fly and like dial rigs in when it's windy, because that's the most challenging possible situation. So like, wherever I need to get my PID tune to deal with 30, 40 miles an hour of wind, that's where it's going to stay, because that's going to work really well in no wind, and then it's also going to work in a whole bunch of wind. This is, the whole wind situation is where you can, a lot of times where you can see KISS kind of fall apart, and back in the day, Flight 1 as well. I remember Steel did when RPM filtering first came out, and we were able to really like it gained us a bunch more headroom in the PID tune because the RPM filtering is just so much better. And I mean, just Betaflight in general, like their filtering is just light years beyond Kiss's filtering. Yeah, it gives you a lot more headroom in the PID tune, and that allows you to kind of handle wind a lot better. Steel went out west with his van, and the first like 4 or 5 or 6, I think, videos, like his rigs were all over the place. Like they're just, it felt to me, I don't know this to be a fact, but it just felt to me like we were getting to see like the limitations of Kiss. Like the filtering is just not good enough to push the PID tune far enough to be able to handle 30, 40 mile an hour wind, because it's hard. Like that's a really challenging situation. So yeah, it's and then the other problem with the F1 footage is they very obviously told the pilot that they cannot go over the racetrack surface under any circumstances, which makes sense because F1 cars are very low to the ground, and the tunnel that's very low to the ground is extremely sophisticated and made of carbon fiber. So like an F1 car running over a drone is going to do potentially like hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage, whereas like in any other motorsport, they don't have maybe time attack, but aside from like the top levels of time attack, no other motorsports has as little ground clearance and as much aero going on in the underbelly and the under tray of the car as F1. So they very obviously told that pilot that under no circumstances can they be above the track surface. And I mean, that's like our bread and butter. Like the whole point of FPV is that we can drop down on the track surface with the car and follow them around, right? If we can't do that, then just put a fucking Mavic up in the air and just run straight lines, because that's basically what the pilot was doing anyway. So yeah, it was, it also like with those, I don't know, like on one hand, like if somebody came to me with those regulations, right, you can't fly over the track surface, I would take the gig because I need the money. But if I didn't need the money, I'd be like, no, like hire somebody, or I'm not going to fly FPV. I'm going to fly this Mavic Pro 2, or hire somebody that, you know, flies Mavics for a living at motorsports events, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that do that shit, or Inspires, or, you know, whatever, camera drones. Yeah, it just was not a situation. Yeah, there are times where FPV is not the right thing, right? FPV has this like, ooh, it's FPV. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't have to be a good cinematographer because it's FPV. They can fix all my problems. It's not, it's a tool, right? It's a tool for a specific kind of flying, a specific job. And those flight requirements put on that pilot took the magic of FPV completely out of the equation. And that's a shame. I would not want to see FPV in Formula One. The other issue is that Formula One cars grossly outperform our rigs. Not many other motorsports cars do. Again, time attack, the top levels of time attack, absolutely. But yeah, F1 cars accelerate, their acceleration, their top speed, and their braking are all grossly beyond what FPV can do. One of the reasons why FPV works so well for drifting is drift cars are very slow. They accelerate pretty quickly, but so do we. They don't brake worth a shit, and they don't go around corners all that fast. So they're a perfect, and this is why, like, a lot of times people get bored with drifting pretty quick. Like that was my sort of motorsports journey. I did the drifting thing way back when, like 99, 2000, 2001. I did it for a couple of years, and it's just okay. It's kind of one-dimensional. Like, rotate the car sideways, tire smoke happens, yay! Everybody thinks I'm cool, except most people, who think I'm an asshole. And then you go slowly around the corner, you go slowly out of the corner, you slowly slow down for the next coin. It's just, yeah, it's not all that challenging once you've done it for a little while. Sure, you can go completely off the rails and spend $100,000 on a pro spec car, and then it becomes a little bit more interesting. But my God, that, like, there's a huge fucking jump to do that. Whereas with other forms of motorsports, autocross, track days, spec racing, that barrier to entry is much lower, and there's a much deeper talent pool. Yeah, drifting is figure skating. It's very visually impressive, but it's also pretty easy to learn and get pretty good at. And then, I don't know, for somebody like me that thrives on like infinitely challenging stuff that I can just be obsessed with for 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, it just doesn't do it for me unless I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend, which I don't. There are other forms of motorsports where you can spend a couple grand a year and race with a talent pool of drivers that are miles beyond even the top drifting people. And yeah, that's the kind of shit that draws me in. I don't care how cool I look, right? Like, that's just not on my radar. But I seem to be in the minority there, especially in the car crowd, unfortunately. John Goblin says, if you want the best DJI 3-inch setup, check out the Newbie Drone Whirly Gig. It holds a full air unit for onboard DVR and comes with 3-inch arms. The full-size air unit is awful heavy. I don't think I would want that in a micro. You got to be really careful with weight in micros. Why is the laptop now at 1 frame a second again? I didn't do anything. But let's look up the Whirly Gig. I think that's how it's spelled. Oh, Newbie Drone. Easy with this scrolling, homie. What? I typed it in. Okay. I don't know what's happening here, but here we go. All right, so let's take a look at this frame. Oh man, why are they doing that? I hate when they do this. I hate when they just pocket for the bottom of the motors rather than drill it all the way through. It doesn't keep any, like, the bearings have shields on them to keep dirt out. We don't need to do this. And there's certain motors that won't work on these arms. This is really annoying. I really wish they would stop doing that. So if you're gonna get this frame, take a really close look at the bottom of your stator base to make sure that the shaft doesn't peek out too far, because some motors will literally not work on these arms. I guess you could technically drill them out for yourself, but that's just stupid. This is just a stupid design. It doesn't, I guess technically it makes the arm a little bit stronger, but I don't like this. I do not like that design. All right, what else we got going on here? Man, nice fast web page. Jesus, come on, guys. What's going on here? Give me some specs. Okay, so there's no specs on the frame. So they're not telling us what the frame weighs. Wow, okay. Is this real life? What? Oh, for fuck's sake, I accidentally went back a page. My guess is that this is a 40 to 50 gram frame. It doesn't look super heavy, which is really great. Comes with 5-inch arms. That's a bit much. Cool little arm locking setup here. I like that the stack mount bolts are independent from the arms. It is a little dead catted in the front. these rear, so this is not going to be a basher frame. These rear arms being dead catted out and really long like this, these rear arms are going to be very fragile. So this is definitely not a freestyle frame, which kind of eliminates it from me building it because I crash everything really hard all the time. But if you're not going to crash much, this could be a good option for you. Although maybe that's just with maybe it's just dead catted out like that with the 5-inch arms. Do they have a picture of it with the 3-inch arms? Is that maybe this? Okay, well, yeah, they still did it. The rear arms are still a lot longer than the front. So, yeah, I still think this isn't going to be a very good basher frame. Awful lot of standoffs in the front camera cage. Usually just one is fine. I don't know why they went with 3. It doesn't look to like... This is like a basher setup for the front camera cage, but then the rest of the frame doesn't really look like much of a basher setup. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there, in my opinion. I like that I can't believe I have to say this now, but I like that it uses M3 hardware. I hate this new movement towards M2 hardware on microframes. It's not good in my opinion. This is an interesting little standoff situation here. I wonder if this is to hold the air unit. Again, the air unit is awful heavy though. Let me see. DJI air unit weight. I would not... I really can't justify putting a full... Like, it's great and all that it's got the SD card on board. Like, that's cool. But I think these are awful heavy. And on a micro, you just can't add a ton of extra weight like that without seriously affecting the performance. Come on, give me the weight. Here we go. Here's some specs. Jesus Christ, 45.8 grams. Yeah, I mean that's just insane, right? Like what you want to compare that to, and that's camera included, okay? So but what you want to compare that to is a RunCam hybrid, which is 13 grams. That's the camera and the board, and then a VTX, which, you know, an Ishii Nano is like 2 grams, right? So we're talking about 15 grams in 4K RunCam hybrid with a separate FPV cam, beautiful low latency, you know, analog, right? Versus 45.8 grams for an air unit in the camera. I can't. Yeah, that's too much, in my opinion. That's just gonna be, you know, you're gonna end up with a micro that's like knocking on the door of 300 grams, even with a 3-inch prop, and that's just not gonna fly good. It's just gonna, basically when you come off the throttle, it's gonna come tumbling out of the air like a sack of hammers, because it's just too heavy for the size of the propeller. That would be a better bet for so the best bet for this whirligig frame would be the 4-inch arms, and then you run it on either a 4-inch propeller or a 3-inch propeller. That's fine too, but, and then I guess because you've got the air unit on board, you get 1080 instead of 720, so that's pretty cool. Although I'm shocked at how good the 720 looks. Yeah, I don't know. Not for me, but an interesting frame for sure. And Newbie Drone tends to make pretty good stuff, so it's from a good manufacturer, but not a frame for me. Not something that I would ever personally build. But I, you know, as I've said a million times before, I've got pretty impossible standards. So don't let me being turned off from something turn you off from it, because it still could be the right fit for you. Interesting frame design, very cool. I'm gonna leave. It looks like I'm still dealing with the delay, so I'm just gonna leave it on this this view, so it's not so obvious. What do we got here? Also, careful with saying anything is the best. Whoever put that comment, there is no such thing as best. There's just different. Every single one of us has a completely different set of like requirements and whatnot. So yeah, there literally is no best. There's no such thing as best. There's just different. And after a while, you can figure out the exact right, frame, the exact right motors, the exact right batteries for your particular flying style and where you fly and when you fly and how you fly and all these good things. This is one of the things that the folks that have worked with me one-on-one in my Fiverr sessions called build planning, this is the biggest piece of feedback that I get from those folks, which is that, after working with me and building a rig that is specifically catered to the way that they fly and where they fly and all this good stuff, they kind of can't believe how good that rig flies. And yeah, I mean, it's because I've had many years figuring that out, figuring out which frame, which motors, which propellers, which power plant, which battery, which electronics, which VTX, which camera fits someone that only flies around trees, likes the way that Drew flies, and I have a list of 20 some odd different questions that I ask at the beginning of each one of those sessions to get kind of dialed in on that. Metatherton says, is it too late to change my name to Just Don't Crash FPV? It's never too late. Grizz FPV says, what's up, Collective? What's up, Grizz? J-Rod FPV is in the house. He says, when will someone make a hybrid quad, or is it even possible to make one that flies that also swims underwater? It's already been done. It's been done by a bunch of people. It's not really a viable setup, though, because the viscosity of air versus the viscosity of water are too drastically different. Unless you can build a rig with sensored brushless motors. Our brushless motors are geared for high RPM. So they work well in the air, which is very loose and not very viscous. So you turn a lot of RPM, you push a lot of air, and that allows you to make enough thrust to fly. In the water, you need to push a lot less water because it's more viscous. So our motors, which are geared towards high RPM, don't work all that well underwater. They still do work amazingly, but a sensored brushless motor like what you get in an electric car is more geared towards producing a lot of low-end torque. So that's the kind of motor that would work well underwater. Unfortunately, those motors are infinitely more expensive than ours. They're also way more complex, way heavier, way bigger. So yeah, it's because of the difference in viscosity, there's probably never going to be a thing that performs well underwater but also performs well in the air, which is probably fine because how many situations are there in reality where you need something that flies and then you also need it to be a submarine, right? I guess unless you're on a James Bond movie set, right, with the White Lotus. But even in that case, I don't really see the point of something that does well in the air, but then also does well underwater. Also you would also have to have some sort of a moving gimbal on the quad, right? Because flying in the air, we want 30 degrees of up tilt, but flying underwater, we would probably want 90 degrees of up tilt. What would be the use? Is there any situation where a drone like that would make sense? I can't think of one. Interesting engineering challenge, though. Tommy News says, was saying that I used to fly like that all the time. It should work out pretty well. LOL. Was saying that I used to. I don't know what we're talking about, Tommy. Used to fly like that all the time. It should work out pretty well. Tag me again and give me more to go on. I have no idea what we're talking about here. M2KFPV says, been flying those T-Motor 1404 4600s, 3.5 inch, 241 all up, Insta 360 Go 2. Loving them. Give them a shot. I probably won't M2K because I've got the Hyperlite 1404.5s. But yeah, I'm pretty shocked at how well these seem to perform on these propellers. Little bit too early to tell though. There could be the PID tune on this is pretty jacked up, which could be helping it. yeah, it's wild. I've done a lot of testing of 1404s, 1405s, 1504s. I'm sorry, not 1405s, 1504s, 1306s, 1505s, which are all right around the same stator volume. 1404s in all the testing that I did, where they just didn't have quite enough stator volume. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm starting to kind of feel like the magic of this little setup is these propellers. I would think that a 3.5-inch propeller it's bigger. It's quite a bit bigger than 3-inch, which usually makes it more draggy. But it is only a 20 pitch, and this Gemfan blade profile is very aerodynamic. So the magic of this setup may very well be these propellers. That might be the difference. Back when I was doing all of this testing, we're talking like 2, 3, 4 years ago, we did not have propellers like this. Propeller design has changed quite a bit in the world of micros over the past few years. So yeah, the magic of that setup might be the props. I'll be very interested to put those motors onto some of the more pitchy 3-inch props, the 28 pitch, the 30 pitch 3-inch props, to see how they perform. That'll be the that'll be an eye-opening kind of thing. Michael D says, sure thing, sent you a PayPal and messaged you on Instagram to remind you. Thank you very much, Michael D. Let me get my email up here real quick to give you a shout out on the PayPal side of things. Much appreciated. If you guys don't want to do a super chat because you don't want YouTube and Google to take 30%, you can head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a PayPal button, and then just do what Michael D did. Tag me and say, yo, sent you a PayPal, and I'll give you a shout out. A well-deserved shout out. Michael D with a $10 PayPal. He says, reminder that your FPV Exchange affiliate link is broken. Thank you very much, Michael D. And there's a new patron, Anthony Greco. Welcome to the collective, my man. Make yourself at home. You've now got access to the Discord channel, super secret YouTube playlist, 2 Facebook groups, bunch of cool stuff, and a hell of a backlog of Patreon posts to dig through. Thanks again, Michael D. Very cool of you, my man. Supporting the madness. Love it. No One FPV says, those are on my Baby Hawk 2 HD. They're quite nice. Yeah, so the Baby Hawk 2 HD has a small motor on it. I think it's a 1404. It might be even smaller than that. It's got a small motor on it, but it's got those amazing 3.5-inch props. Those props are the magic of the Baby Hawk 2 HD. The rest of that build doesn't really have anything extraordinary going on, but those motors those propellers are just amazing. So yeah, that rig is as good as it is mainly because of those props, which is cool. Greg Gerber says, one issue with the Emax scimitars is they won't fit on wide flat motors. HQ 3.5 by 2.5 might be better in that respect. Great point, Greg. I meant to mention that when we were talking about those propellers, and I completely forgot. Yeah, the most of the Emax Avan. Come on, there it is. Most of the Emax Avan props, the hub is here, and then the propeller profile, Gemfan and HQ and Dal and Azure. They'll take the hub and then the propeller blade, and it'll be like kind of a straight line. Like the propeller won't dip down above or below the hub all that much. Emax's propeller designer, Sage Thayer, is pretty hell-bent on efficiency. I think he might be a long-range guy. He's pretty hell-bent on efficiency, so his propeller designs are very aggressive and very modern and very sophisticated. And what you want to understand about a propeller is, like, if this is the hub and this is the blade, the tip of the blade out here by my fingertips, it covers the most ground, right? So it moves through the most air. In here by my thumb, in by the hub, that doesn't cover as much ground, right? So one of the ways to gain efficiency in a propeller is to thicken the inner part of the blade where it's not going as far, so that it can grab more air, so that the entire length of the blade is doing as much work as possible. So that's what Sage Thayer does. He makes, so he's got the hub, if you're looking at the propeller from the side on, right? He's got the hub, and then the blade comes out like this. What he does is he balloons up the thickness of the blade here in by the hub. Well, he does it so aggressively that all of the Emax props will work on all of the Emax motors, but other motor companies will sometimes design the motor bell so that if you're looking sideways at the motor bell on top, they'll have the pad for the hub, but then they'll just extend the motor bell out completely straight line, and then they'll turn it down where the magnets are. All the Emax motors are domed so that there's enough, so that the pad is up here, and then the bell drops off like this, so that their propellers that go like that can clear. But there are certain motors out there that are not like that. It's pretty easy to tell. Just look at the top of the motor, and if it's completely flat, then it probably won't work with the Emax Avan props. Sometimes they will. Sometimes it'll be completely flat, but the bell won't be too wide. But a lot of times, yeah, the motors that are totally flat on top will not work with the Emax Avan props. And Greg is absolutely dead on that. In that case, if you're running that motor, the HQ props are going to be a lifesaver because they're a little bit more pitchy than the Gemfans. But unfortunately, they're T-mount only. So yeah, it's just another thing to make FPV completely impossible. Richardson says, so for wind, you pretty much have to push D gain, much like for prop wash. D gain and P gain, because the wind is going to hit the rig, it's going to push it. The P gain is how quickly it's going to push back. So if you just crank up D gain and you don't have enough P gain, the wind is going to hit it, it's going to move the rig, and then it's going to push back. There has to be enough P gain for it to quickly enough. It's going to detect the wind moving the rig as quickly, regardless of the P gain, but then how high the P gain is how quickly it's going to then push back. So you need enough P gain where the millisecond, the 1/8,000th or 1/4,000th of a second, depending on what your PID loop rate is at, right? 4K or 8K. In 1/4,000th of a second, when it detects that, it can start, the P gains are aggressive enough to start pushing back, so that ideally it gets moved from the wind and then pushes back and corrects so quickly that you don't even see it in 30 frames a second, right? 30 frames a second is what our video systems output, or 60 frames a second, I guess, in some cases. Well, no, they don't really output that. The camera, whatever, this doesn't matter. Yeah, you want to be able to make that correction quick enough, and that is more P gain related. The D gain is definitely necessary, especially as you raise the P gain. You're also going to have to raise the D gain. But tuning a rig for wind is not just cranking the D gain up. It's cranking everything up. Basically, it's cranking the master slider up, because you also need more I gain. To be honest, it's just moving it's just making the entire PID tune more aggressive. That's what's really necessary for good wind performance, and that's difficult to do. Mr. Huggy says, at Monaco today, the slowest F1 race was the slowest speed they do is 65 miles an hour going a hairpin, then hit 165 in less than 100 meters. Yeah, the performance window of Formula One cars is like it's just it's mind-blowing on a whole different scale. It's really cool that F1 is coming to the US more and more, because I'm just dying to see it. Formula One cars are probably the only full tilt race cars that I have not seen. I've pretty much seen everything. Top tier time attack is like, it's not there, but it's the closest that you'll ever see to it. And it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, the performance that they can put out of stock appearing, not really, but stock body, non-open wheeled platforms. Mr. Huggy says, other factor with F1 cars is their aero creates a massive amount of turbulence behind them, which also affects the quads behind them. Yeah. They do they do a hell of a job smoothing the air out in the rear. The turbulence behind the car is actually one of the areas that F1 has gotten. Let's yeah, I would be interested to, one of the ways that you know that, so most aerodynamics, let's just say this, everything other than Formula One, you'll see way more passing from slipstreaming, drafting. And the reason for that is you got a car punching a hole in the air, and then you got a big column of turbulence behind it. So another car can get into that turbulence and take advantage of it and gain on the car that they're slipstreaming. Formula One smooths that air out more than most, and you don't get a lot of passing. Formula One cars actually, in some cases, perform better in clean air because the aerodynamics are so dialed in and so sophisticated, right? When they get into that turbulent air behind the other cars, they don't gain as much from the draft. So I'd be really interested to see what a quad would do behind an F1 car versus behind like a regular old aero car. It's interesting. I never thought about that. John Goblin says the only good thing about the frame is that it holds an air unit. Other than that, it's kind of crap. Interesting. Yeah, Christ, I won't even put an air unit on a 5-inch rig because it's just too heavy. 45 grams. Good Lord. What the hell's in there? Lead? Jesus. 45 grams. What is going on? Brandon McBean says, like the Gemfan Hurricane prop is tapered like that. Brandon McBean says, oh, the Emax props have a strange inner prop design. Yeah, the inside of the inside of the blade is wild. J-Rod says, I was questioning out loud. I figured it'd be too heavy. Yeah. It would be cool to have that onboard 1080p though. For like a live flying, for a gig like the American Crit Series, the air, and the other thing is the air unit has the dual antennas. So Patrick actually had that idea one night. We were hanging out for the live flying gig. He's like, yo, you should have a rig that's got an air unit in it because you'll get better, you'll get the dual antennas. And I was like, ooh, yeah. But then I looked up the weight. I was like, ooh, no. Because for those gigs, I'm trying to stay sub 250 because I am flying above people live. So it's, a definite concern. Tommy News says, I'm talking about flying my drone outside using my TV as a giant monitor while sitting at my workbench. Okay. I was trying to say it's really fun and different. Gotcha. Yeah, we're going to do that. 428. What? How's it 4:30? What? Did we started? Have we been talking for an hour and a half? Was there a time change today? Did we lose an hour today? What's happening? How's it 4:30? Yeah, I talk about cars too fucking much. Jesus. Okay. Gertjan X says, do you use Velocidrone and liftoff? I'm still a starter. Liftoff more difficult to manage. Back when I spent a lot of time in the simulator, I preferred Velocidrone. I felt like the physics were just way more realistic. Liftoff is fine too. Sims are only going to get you so far. So trying to spending a bunch of time trying to find a sim that's perfect is a waste of time because none of them are perfect. So whatever you've got, just use it. And then when you get a couple of years into flying, the simulator is actually going to start hurting you because when you get to a certain point, the most important thing is consistency and flying the exact same rig over and over and over again. And so if you go out and fly 20 batteries on your same exact build, and then you come home and you fly liftoff or Velocidrone, the muscle memory that you gained from flying your real rigs, you're gonna ruin that in the simulator because it's not gonna be the same. So you're basically gonna have to build up two completely separate sets of muscle memory. And then if you've got a Tinywhoop, that's a third set of muscle memory. If you've got a 3-inch, you've got a fourth set of muscle memory. So yeah, but that only happens once you've kind of gotten pretty good. Initially, for your first couple of years of flying, it's all about stick time. So the sim is incredibly important for your first few years of flying. But yeah, don't spend too much time hemming and hawing over which one's better, Velocidrone or Liftoff. Just get into one, spend as much time as you possibly can, and eventually you're going to see that when you fly in the sim a bunch and then you go fly for real, when you fly for real, you're going to be off. You're going to go to throw it off throttle over a tree, and you're not going to make it. And you're going to be like, what the hell? I thought that was going to make it. Well, yeah, in the simulator, it would have made it, but it would have made it, and that's what your brain is you're putting you into kind of sim mode or whatever. So yeah. JC Innovate says, what's best bits for a 2S HD analog whoop? Sorry, I asked earlier, but you either missed it or I missed the reply. I must have missed it, JC. Wow, I don't know. I am not a fan of 2S for whoops. In my opinion, whoops should be flown inside, and 2S is just too heavy for like hard whoop flying indoors. And then HD is also kind of too heavy. I'm also a little confused. You said HD analog. Are you saying that you want to build it analog and then also carry an HD camera? If so, I've got these things called tiny lifters that I've built, but those are like cinematic rigs. I always assume that you guys are looking for like more freestyle kind of rigs. So yeah, in terms of like a good freestyle whoop, it's 1S. And I've got tons of content here on the channel from the last like 6 months about that. Basically, just buy a Mobula 6 with the higher kV motors, 25 or 26,000 kV, and then put it into a Betaflight Meteor 65 frame, and you're good to go. If you want my full build, I worked with Joshua for about a month, last month, the month before, I guess it was, on a whoop section of his website, fpvknowitall.com. You can go over there. I also have some of the stuff down below in the description with some of my affiliate links. Joshua's website are going to be all his affiliate links, which is fine. But yeah, there you go. 1S all day. As soon as you go to 2S, it becomes too heavy. As soon as you go to HD, it becomes too heavy. They basically turn into little tiny Cinewhoops, which are not really fun to fly unless you have a nice subject to chase, or unless you have like an amazing spot to fly. My little tiny lifters I've basically built to fly around in like the mall, where I can go up in the rafters and shit and like, you know, do all kinds of wild stuff. Like, so if you have a location that like nobody's ever flown before, right? Like malls, we don't see people flying around malls because security kicks you out. Yeah, that's when a low performance it's low performance because it's 2S or because it's HD. That's when a low performance whoop will produce some pretty fun footage and will probably be fun to fly, right? Like, I haven't had those tiny lifters in the mall yet, but it'll probably be a fun thing because I'll be like, you know, where's the security guard? Where's it? You know, it'll add a little bit of interest to it. JC says, JC, so I probably didn't reply to your earlier comment because of what you did here. You just typed at Ciotti. You have to type at CiottiFPV. He says, need something more than 1S for budget commercial around crowds. Budget commercial around crowds. Anything commercial, in my opinion, you need to get a GoPro on it. I can't imagine a gig where they would accept anything lower quality than GoPro. So at that point, you're talking like 2-inch, and you want to get one of these 2-inch naked GoPro carriers. So yeah, that's where I would go, or maybe 2.5-inch. The only HD camera that I can possibly imagine working in a commercial setting would maybe be an Insta360 Go 2, in which case you could just look at my Tiny Lifter builds and just carbon copy one of those. So yeah, do that. But realistically, I think you want to look at naked GoPro stuff. Naked GoPro 2-inch, 2.5-inch rigs. There's a shitload of them out there. All right, cool. Let's do some flying. Yeah, the other consideration is if you're going to be trying to mix that footage, like if you're going to be using that and trying to mix that footage in, you definitely want to be on GoPro, because if you try to mix footage from an Insta360 Go 2 in with GoPro footage, it's going to be very obvious. It's going to be, yeah, that's not going to, it's going to be jarring when you try to mix in between those two cameras, because they're just completely different. The color science is completely different. The amount of fisheye is completely different. The stabilization software is completely different. It's going to be pretty. I'd be pretty impressed if you'd be able to mix GoPro with Insta360 Go footage too, and not have it be like, oh God, what just happened? We just changed cameras. I've flown Tinywhoop around inside of here a bunch. Let's do the let's try the flying outside thing first here. Also, because I want you guys to see how fucking gnarly this thing flies. So this is going to be a little bit less. This is going to be a little bit more of a. I don't know. We're just going to do it. We're going to see what happens. But it might be. There might be more. This is going to be more technically pain in the ass than usual. And usually, the technical side of things is a bit of a challenge. But we're gonna try here. We're gonna see. We're breaking new ground here on the live stream. All right, VRX is plugged in. I'm gonna put it right here by the window. I think I can probably like. Oh yeah. Oh, that's the stuff right there. I wonder how that's gonna work. All right, so it is kind of sort of in the window. I'm gonna have to plug in. I'm going to have to go downstairs, put it outside the front door, and then I'm going to have to come back up here, fly it from in here, so that you guys can actually hear me talking. And then when the battery's done, I'll have to run back down there and grab it. So let's get that going. What's up, Nautilus? How are you? All right. Why is there no little TPU thing on here? So these are a smaller battery. I have these 4S 550s just sitting in my battery bag, and I was like, you know what? Let me charge them up and see how bad they are. So these batteries might be pretty awful. They've also been charged for a few days, so not doing me favors. But let's see. Shouldn't be that bad. All right. Oh, the song of our people. The song of our Blue Jay people. The song of our BLHES ESC peoples. You know what I'm saying? Bringing BLHES ESCs into a world of actual life since 2022. Okay, VTX, USB PC camera, GoPro webcam. Oh no, where is it? Hold on. Is it not plugged in again? Did I re-unplug it? Yeah, it's not plugged in. Hold on. Plugging it in typically helps. Wait, hold on. Crossfire's on. You guys are gonna get all the interference in the world. Where is that cable? It's going over there, and it's going into the USB hub, which is not on. Perfect. So now it should pop up. Hey, look at us go. Ah! Okay, hold on. I gotta run this downstairs. Right back. Breaking new ground in the live stream. Here we go. Still working? Oh God. Well, it should get better. I'm down low. It should get better as I start flying. There we go. All right. I can't tell if well. So if I hover it, I can take my goggles off and look at the screen. Oh yeah, that's looking way better. Ooh, you know what I can do? I can open one of these windows for a little bit of audio. Here, hold on. Open this window over here. And a little bit of audio will come in. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. End up on the roof. Oh yeah. So this is where I'm at. I'm right in here. Drop down in here. You know about that. Yeah, look at the performance of this thing. So this is these little 1404.5 motors. Actually, I should probably keep it out in front of the house for you guys. On these Gemfan 3.5s. And this old ass 4S550 is hanging in there. Not bad. So this is one of the RunCam hybrid RipSqueaks. You can tell it's a RunCam hybrid up in the top right corner there, the big flashing red jib jab. That's the church over there and just a big field for no reason. Here's the 2. I don't know if I can make it under the 2. Probably not because there's those weeds on the other side. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, look at these. Ready? Look at this motor prop combo. Ready? Little kid goes, cool. There they are. Hi, children. Hello, children. Keeping my distance. Super confused they must be. There's not usually at least I'm standing out there. There they go. Keeping my distance to be safe. Whoa, okay. That was that the battery getting low? That was interesting. Let me see. Hold on. Ready? No, seems okay. That was odd. Weird. That's the problem with these tiny little cheap micro 20x20 ESCs is that they'll do stuff like that and then like they won't do it again for a while. This is where that lamp is. This is that big dive right on the other side of this window. And this battery's getting down there. 3.5, yeah, let's bring it back in. Alright, next battery will go a little harder. Alright, I'll be back. Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna bring another battery. I'll bring one of the other batteries and I'll just plug it straight in. Yeah, that's thinking with your head. You're back. It is hot in Atlanta today. It's been getting hot lately. All right, here we go. Oh, ooh, something to land on. You know we had to. You know we had to land on it. Look at this thing. The explosion of thrust is real. Get some. Ooh, boy. Alright, don't fly up above the roof. I assume that your guys' video goes to hell when I fly up over the roof. I'm standing up all close to the windows with the magical rapid fire. You guys are not. Alright, which house? Where are we at? Is this it? There it is. Yeah, just the tiniest little throttle blip fires this thing. Trying to get back in here. This is like just tight enough of a gap where you got to be really on it. And then that little scraggly bush is all angry. Go behind the house. I wonder what the... You guys might lose all video. There it is, the mega power loop to the moon! Get it. Oh my god, look how good this flies! It is, admittedly, it's a little floaty. Little floaty. But the floatiness allows you to really kind of play around. That little ESC dropout was kind of weird before. Got me a little freaked out. Oh, can we make it? Can we make it? We made it! Yeah, this is too floaty. So these 3.5-inch props, like, they're great and they're really efficient, but that's too much. That's too much floatiness. Like, oh boy, there it is again. So it's doing it after a big, there was that, it might just be battery. The battery might just be sagging so bad that it's almost browning out. That would be my educated guess. Don't hit your own car. Rule of thumb. Look at the efficiency though. We're at 320 already. And like, I'm not hammering this and I'm not really covering much ground because I'm trying to stay, you know, like right here for the video signal not to go to hell. But like, come on, right? Send it down the street. I would love to know if you guys can see it when I push a little bit of range like that. I have a feeling you can't. I'll have to watch this stream back to see what it's like. Still going, 3 minutes and 50. Battery's sitting at like 3.6. I'm also flying pretty safe because I don't want to have to go out and retrieve the damn thing if I wreck it while the stream is going. No! Oh boy, that came out of nowhere. I know that thing is there too. I just wasn't thinking about it. There's a low battery warning. Okay. I wish I could just land it on the roof and reach right out and grab it, but the screens don't pop out of these windows. So there you go. 4 minutes and 30, whopping that thing around pretty good. Let me go grab it. Actually, we're going to switch rigs now. We're going to switch over to the track. These 1404s are getting a little warm. It is hot out, and I mean, as you can see, the tune is pretty nailed. But yeah, we can see it range down the street too. Really? Nice. Wow. That's really cool. All right, so yeah, this is a little bit of a different rig. It's sitting down like that because it's got those mounts on it. It's not carrying in an Insta360 Go right now. So this is like extra overpowered. This is Toka 1505s. You can see the shadow. Look how weird the shadow looks. Where's the shadow? Where's the shadow? There it is. Whatever. And this is on these HQ 3-inch Cinewhoop props. They're tri-bladed propellers. Can you see the difference in like this is, well, I hate to use this word, but this is smoother, but also look at the difference in speed. Like this is it's just a bigger, there might be more up tilt though, to be honest. It's tough to make a comparison. This battery is hammered ass. Sorry, it's already giving me low battery warnings. Yeah, just a little bit of a heavier kind of rig with all this TPU on it and the bigger motors. Still a ripper though. Still rips good. I almost just lost video there. Yeah, this thing with the Insta360 Go 2 is 26, I want to say, grams, whereas the RunCam hybrids are they're like a 13 gram weight penalty. So this rig is set up to carry more weight, thus the 1505 motors. And yeah, it does a hell of a job with it. When it's not, I don't know where I am right now. Here we go. When it's not carrying the Insta360 Go, it's wild. This battery is not gonna really show you the all-out performance of these motors, but it's pretty nuts. Yeah, the battery just sags to hell. But it's interesting that you can kind of see, and in fairness, I might have the amount of throttle smoothing a little bit different. I don't know if I don't know if I've taken the time to get. What I like to try to do every once in a while is plug all the different rigs in, and get the settings between them like kind of unified and as close to the same as possible. I haven't done that in a little while, so this might have a little bit more stick smoothing and stuff. But I mean, you can definitely see that this is less twitchy, right? And I think most of that is down to the heavier motors and all the TPU that's on it. This rig, I don't have my scale here, but this rig probably weighs another 20 or 30 grams over the one that I was just flying. Like I said, mainly because of the motors. Pretty shitty power loop attempt. And there's the end of that 4S850. Still did three and a bit minutes. Watch it land, ready? Because of the rear TPU. Ready? Landing. It just noses down like crazy when it lands. Because it's got that rear chunk of TPU on it. Get this window closed because it is getting hot in here already. There we go. Alright. There you guys go. I've always wondered if I could fly outside from here. Turns out that I can. Be right back. I'm assuming that watching me fly tiny whoops around the house is more fun than that, right? Let me know in the chat. What's more fun to watch, that or tiny whooping in the house? It's 4:57. I am gonna fly at least a tiny whoop battery. especially because I just got the a fresh set of Happy Model 0802 25,000s on the Mobula 6. That's what I was doing at the beginning of the stream. So let me, and I do have a couple of batteries charged for it. So what I don't know though is that are the motors going to spin the right direction? I bet you they won't. But let's find out. Flat part away. And all right. Get caught up on chat here while I'm at it. Okay. Tommy News says don't crash, lol. No One FPV says why not just fly it through the window to change batteries? Yeah, the screens don't come out. I'll tell you what though. At the house that we're moving into in June, July, yeah, there's gonna be a serious setup. I mean, like, I might even run a cable up to the roof or something stupid like that to really get wild with it. Let's see if the motors spin the right direction on this rig. Ramdongo says 1504s, 850 mAh. Typically, yes. Typically, 850 mAh is my preferred battery for these guys. But one of the interesting things about these 1404.5s is that they do not need that big of a battery. I can do like a 650 or a 700. So that's kind of interesting. Admittedly, I do like the bigger batteries for the sag resistance, basically. Also, they give it a little bit more throw. I had these rigs down at like 220 grams all up for a while, and they're great down there, don't get me wrong, but batteries get kind of saggy. So this is what I was flying on that last battery, fully TPU'd out. These are these weird HQ Cinewhoop. What are they called? D77? I don't know. I can't really read it. And then this is what I was flying on the first couple of batteries with the 3.5s. So you also got to see the difference between a 3-inch prop on that last battery and the 3.5-inch props in that first one. Let's see if this Tinywhoop will fly. Or if the props are on, or the motors are on wrong. Oh, the left rear motor ain't spinning. What's up here? It's twitching, but it ain't spinning. I thought that I swapped motors on this rig, and that fixed the problem. What the hell? Oh man, I guess I did blow up this AIO. Ow. Not ow. Well, now it's fine. But it's produced kind of smelly. It's making thrust in turtle mode, so it's not spinning the right direction. So let me check that. It seems to be fine now. All right, so the motor 3 is wrong. Yeah, let's do these in order. Motor 1, making thrust. Motor 1's wrong. Motor 2, making thrust. Wrong. Motor 3 I know is wrong. Motor 4 is right. Motor 4 is not making thrust. The rest of them are. Strange that motor with a little bit of coaxing is now all of a sudden fine. Let's get these motors reversed and put this thing up in the air. And we'll bounce off a couple of walls here, and then I'll probably wrap this stream up. I don't know if I'm going to fly all these batteries. Come on now. Plug in. There it is. All right, so we're going to fire up Betaflight here, and hopefully I have 4.3 on here, because that means that we'll be able to reverse the motors inside of Betaflight. CMYK says, video is clear in the back and over the roof. Damn, nice. Down the street too, cool. Michael D Michael D says, we should all tag him so he sees the suggestions next time he looks, fly through the window. Yeah, the screens don't pop out of the windows. Ramdago said, had a problem after almost completing a 720 roll. Rig flipped out on 4.3 RC3, motors 3 and 4 don't turn as well, so we'll replace and go through setup cautiously. If motors 3 and 4 don't turn as well, I have a feeling that's not because of the flight firmware. It sounds like a mechanical issue, but it depends. And this is on 4.3, so we can go motor direction, understand the risks individually, and I need to reverse 1. Needs to be reversed. 2 needs to be reversed. 3 needs to be reversed. Let's plug in a battery and check that. All right, so motor 1. Nope, motor 1 actually needs to be normal. Yeah, now it's going. Okay, motor 1's good. Motor 2. That's wrong. Motor 2 needs to be normal. Come on. Okay, good. Motor 3. Motor 3 is now incorrect. Put that back to normal, I think. Yep, motor 3 is now good. Okay, so it's a startup power problem right now. For the record, motor 4 is actually correct now. All right, so we're good to go. Yeah, the problem with motor 3, I believe, from that little test, is a startup power. I need to crank the startup power up a little bit in Blue Jay, but this should be fine for just a battery. House is a little bit of a mess right now because it is moving. We are in moving mode, so it's not as fancy to fly around, but you know, who cares? We're moving into a glorious place. That's going to be way fun to fly. All right, let's see if this thing works. Why is that not working now? What the hell happened? What? Where'd it go? Where'd you go, little VTX? Hold on. It's odd. I'll unplug it and plug it back in. Or VRX, rather, not VTX. Come on, little guy. Come back to life. Where are you? Oh, I gotta move it to the other side of the room. All right, it's out in the hallway. It's still being a dick, though. Hold on. Let me power cycle this USB hub that it's hooked up to. Maybe that's what it needed. Maybe that's the love that it needed. I think I got it. There it is. Hey. All right, let's see if it'll fly. Oh! Oh! Oh, it's upset. It's very upset. It flies. The PID loop is a little overactive, but we're just gonna fly it. It's fine. All right, there we go. Oh, wow, it is so difficult adjusting to the way Tinywhoops fly. Why is it so washed out? What's happening? Why is it so bright? Is it just in my goggles? Well, you know, usually I don't fly in here during the day, so maybe that's why. Man, this gap is going to be hard to hit. Not that hard, though. So this is a fresh set of 0802 25,000s. Sent over. Oh, balls. Oh, no. I'm in the shoebox. Get me out of the shoebox. Come on. Come on. No shoebox. Yes! Sent over by Weirdo with a Skateboard, I believe it was. Oh, God. Why would I do that? Why would I just ram right into the wall there? Yeah, I haven't flown a fresh set of these motors in a long time. But it's coming right on back to me. I can't go through that hole over there. Oh, the wall tap! Right outside the office here. Oh, boy. Uh-oh, where am I? Where am I? Oh, the couch got me. Couch got me on that one. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, yes. We got out. We got out. We got out. All's well. All's right with the world. This rig is not flying as good as it was pre-Rampage obliteration. Kind of not super surprising, but annoying nonetheless. Come on. Maybe the frame took some abuse. Uh-oh. 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 I think the magnet belt might have dropped. I hope not, though. Usually it takes a lot more abuse than that. What's happening with you, little guy? Oh, it could just be that startup issue again. Startup power issue. Because it feels fine. Oh god, you guys probably have all the... Oh wait, no. 2.4 doesn't... Yeah, it's that left rear motor. That left rear motor is unhappy. Interesting situation we got here. Okay. Okay, take it easy. Oh god. Goggles are beeping. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh god. Where am I? I can just see white. Oh, what was that? That was a big uncommanded, like, recenter. Oh god, why did I do that? Why? Oh, no, don't. No, come on, please. Come on. Left rear motor, please. Don't, oh, it's goggles. Oh no, now the battery's going dead. Don't make me take the walk again, please. No, I've walked up and down the stairs so many times. If I was gonna pick a hobby that got me in shape, it wouldn't be this one. Oh, that battery just took a huge steaming shit. Oh, come on now. Oh, this poor thing. That battery's on fire. All right, we're gonna do one more. I'm not quite satisfied with that. What is up with this fucking motor? Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry, motor? All right, one more. One more quick one. Come on. Okay. Flat spot there. These are the Tattoo 1S batteries, by the way, which they're the same. They're the same as the Newbie Drew Nitro Nectar Golds. They're the same as the We Bleed FPVs. All the same. All great. They're great batteries. But yeah, it's the same thing. Whichever ones you can get your hands on, get them. Here we go. Oh boy, easy. Everybody chill. Oh god, where'd that wall come from? Where's the lamp? There's the lamp. Trying to get me every time, that lamp. Whoa! Oh, I'm in stainless silver land.
Stainless steel land. Come on. What an man! It is a hell of an adjustment. Flying whoops in like such a fucking three-dimensional way. Oh, I'm gonna hit the lamp. Oh boy, down we go. Yeah, it is a whole different kind of skill set. No, 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 no. Please no. Oh, please no. Oh yes, that might be good. Oh, I'm fine. Oh god. Oh no, I'm going back down. Going back down. But into the shoe basket this time, which is unrecoverable. There's the shoe basket. Well, here we go. Oh boy. Oh no. Nope. Nope. Alright. Shoe basket is always unrecoverable. Stop eating on it. Maggie rushed home to rescue the quad, apparently. Alright, here we go. Should we dive bomb her? Guys, should we dive bomb her? Dive bombing her. Oh, she wasn't there. Hey, hey, hey! Oh, oh, oh! Woo! Oh, oh, easy, easy. Oh God, I love just like laying that out. What is happening? It's Tinywhoop is being weird. What are you being all weird for, buddy? I don't know. It was just me. Can't get enough. 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 I'm the worst. Thankfully she wasn't down there. I was coming down, I was like, oh boy. Yes, she shut the door. Oh, you're the greatest. Oh no. Oh no, walls.
Oh, the hallway door, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God. Woo! Oh, my racetrack is back. My racetrack is back, friends. The racetrack is back. Oh, the oval life. Oh! The lamp came out of nowhere. Guess I could do a little figure eight. No! Oh, what did I disarm for? Ew. No, no, don't you dare not fly home. Oh, no, no, no. Uh-oh, where am I? Where am I? What am I looking at? What's happening? Where is it? That white wall, yo. It's just... oh! And the white wall is like the land of make-believe when you're looking at it. Get our Maddie on, of course. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Oh, every time. It's just so good. Oh no, that's the railing. Oh boy.
Another rescue?
Let's see. I think we're alright.
You okay?
Yeah! Woo! Play with backwards flying, you know. All the Cinewhooping tricks, friends. Oh no! Oh no! Oh yes. Alright, that battery's a little low. Let's do one more, right? One more, right? One more. We need one more, right? We need to do one more. Keep beeping, Goggles. I like when you beep. It's very helpful when you beep. Flat side there. This is a We Bleed FPV battery going in. Many more cycles on it than those tattoos. Alright. Alright, one more. Okay, this is a dead We Bleed FPV battery, I think. Because the... Here, listen. Listen to the... Well, here, you'll see. Ready?
God, shut up, fat sharks. Listen. I was doing it way worse a minute ago. It was going did it. Now it's a little more normal. And the OSD showed 4.02 volts, so I'm actually gonna try to fly it. I assume that it just didn't charge. Yeah, it's doing it. It's going did it. Will it fly? Now the left front motor doesn't want to spin. Oh yeah, this battery's shot. It just browned out. Ah. Yeah, this battery's blown up. Alright, well, you know, then there's that. I do have this other one with the PH 2.0 batteries. What is the deal with this Weebly battery, though? I do treat these batteries like absolute shit, so I mean, I can't be too surprised that they've blown up, that this is blown up, but yeah, it's reading out 4.15 volts, but the internal resistance must be through the roof. So there you go. That's the first Weebly FPV battery to take a shit. Kind of not super surprising because Tinywhoop batteries just kind of do that, but yeah. You guys have probably seen on these live streams the entire life of that battery. So we're going to do the regular FR Sky, regular Whoop with the 19,000 kV lighter weight 0802s, the EX 0802s. Let's see. It'll be kind of interesting. I'd love to see if I can tell a difference between these. I can pull this Betaflight module. First I gotta find the right model on my transmitter. Found it. This rig is also nowhere near tuned as well. This is a quick tune that we did last week. Wow, what a difference in the lower KV motors. What a difference. Oh my god.
Shower, so I can't rescue.
Okay, thank you. Wow, what a difference in these motors. I mean, you can still do things. Okay, we're pinballing. Yeah, you can still do things, but like, it makes doing everything a lot harder because you gotta wait longer. Oh god. And it also gives you like you can't make corrections as quick because at the top of the throttle there's less thrust. But what's interesting is it kind of makes you more smooth, like it forces you to be more smooth, which is kind of cool. I gotta admit, oh boy, almost hit that wall. And it all, yeah, oh god. It also makes like the big gnarly stuff a lot more difficult. But we should still be able to do. Yeah, see that? Like, look at it's. So first of all, it did that big wiggle because it didn't have enough horsepower to fight against the prop wash. But it also, like, I was full throttle all the way down. Man, I can't see shit there. Yeah, see, like, I have to put a ton of throttle in to get it to catch. Yeah, like, I gotta change the way the move looks, actually. I gotta change the way the camera move looks to give myself enough time to come down the bottom. Oh, we're going down the stairs. Whee! Tumble down the stairs. Oh, what's happening here? Oh boy. Oh, I'm against the wall. Oh boy. Alright, so let's go forward with it. Yeah. Oh, no, come on. On this rig, it's the left front motor that doesn't want to work. The one thing I've definitely noticed between the Happy Model AIO and the Newbie Drone AIO is like the Happy Model AIO will do this weird shit way more often than the Newbie Drone. This battery did not last very long.
These are the Nubidra Nitro Nectar Gold batteries, though, and I've pounded the shit out of these, so not super surprised, but kind of nuts the difference between 19,000 kV and 25,000 kV. Huh. Fire my neighbors and bucket my neighbors. Nice. Nice. Let me put another battery through this just to... I mean, because this is also a PH 2.0 versus BT 2.0 comparison here. But it's a totally unfair comparison because these are 19,000 kV motors and the others are 25s. But, you know. I'm actually kind of surprised how much power these 19,000s do have. They are the EX, though, which are lightweight. So this rig is pretty light right now, which is very helpful when you're dealing with less powerful motors. Let's do a little Cinewhooping with it. Try to keep it flat. Whoa, what's happening? There's some uncommanded shit going on. It just did a little mini failsafe, I think. It was like held the right. Oh god, I'm all over the place. What's happening? Hold on. Let me get dialed in here. I think I might have feed forward turned up on this rig. There we go. That's what I wanted. Get in here. A little fun up in here. Yeah, this rig feels very feed forwardy. Hold on, let's see. Right. I don't know. Where's the feed forward? I forget. Is it in miscellaneous? No. Where the hell's the feed forward? No, it is in rates, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. Wait, no, what? Where is it? Where's feed forward? Am I crazy? Oh, it's in the PIDs. I'm so stupid. No, feed forward's turned down. Huh. Okay. It's just a Tinywhoop, that's all. See, this shit right here, this is shit that the Happy Model boards do that the newbie driven boards don't. There we go. They're just way more finicky. Like you, oh god, it's not. There's a shitload of latency sometimes. Maybe I'm just. Oh god, there's a. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just being more sensitive to the latency, or if there's a problem. There was. Oh god, there was definitely something funny going on a minute ago. It's not just me. I swear. Let's do some right orbits. They're way harder. Battery voltage is holding out, but it's very saggy. These Nubidra Nitro Nectar Gold batteries have had just the absolute shit beaten out of them. They got really beaten on when I was doing the tiny lifter testing, the 2S tiny lifter testing. So I was putting like weird motors on them. Yeah, these are the internal resistance of this battery is shit. Let's get it out. We got one more that needs to be discharged. Throw it through. All right, and then we'll wrap things up here. Chat, what's up? What are you guys doing? Is everybody building? Who's building in chat? What are you building? Tell us. Tell us. Any tricks you guys want to see? First person that says Trippy Spins gets banned from the channel for life. Just don't like the way Trippy Spins look. I know how to do them. I haven't practiced doing them much because I think they look ugly. But yeah, they're not my deal. Wait, no, gotta do right orbits. There we go. I like how I ask you what tricks you guys want to see, and then I put goggles on so I can't see the chat. Hold on. Get some good ceiling fan orbits in. Here we go. Okay. Do them to the right because it's way harder. God, it's unbelievable how much harder it is to do them to the right. And some perch game. Here, look at them to the left, right? Look at that. Look how much easier they are to the left. Oh! Rejected! Oh boy. Oh! Talk about rejected. Oh my god. Put your big Tinywhoop head down on the desk. Oh, the lamp got me! No, no, no. Why did I disarm? Oh my god, that was bad. That was the top of that railing at full steam. Wow, it bounced all the way in here. Oh boy. That's fine. What I was trying to do was this. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, that was almost it. But it was half-ass commitment. Oh wow, the lack of power at the bottom there is brutal. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it is hard to fly without the higher KB. Oh god. I couldn't decide to go under it or over it, so I went right into it. Hey, we did it. We flew outside, we flew inside. We did orbits. Yeah, that battery's down enough. Cool. Oh my god, FPV is the greatest. There you have it, friends. That's what I got for you today. 2 frames a second? It's alright. You'll notice that the Fat Shark stopped beeping. You know, I guess they weren't, you know, actually dead. Go figure. Fat Shark's voltage sensor can go to hell, as far as I'm concerned. Thanks for hanging, friends. Lots of good suggestions for moves, and I didn't do any of them, so, you know. Got the chat going, though, didn't it? Where we at? Speaking of chat, let me get caught up real quick. CH3 says, crazy difference between the 2 rigs. Apache Smoke Winds and Cyber says, like the indoor, but this was cool too. 6S1 says, Hyperlights are great. They seem kind of fragile though, but it was a pretty hard crash, so more testing needed. Fargo says, if you run an antenna on the roof of your house, can you run a splitter to get signal to your goggles and your streaming device? I don't think so. I think I would need to run 2, which is fine, whatever. But yeah, I don't think you can split the signal like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't, actually, because you're not supposed to do, you know, one of the things you can do on the goggle modules is run a splitter and then run 2 antennas. But Joshua says to never, ever, ever do that for probably the same reason as whatever. Metadotson says, on those tiny motors, you always seem to have to crank the min and max startup full on BlueJay. That's what the newbie drone settings suggest now, too. Yeah, it's... I do have a link to a chart that compares the BlueJay startup power settings to the BLHeli-S startup power settings, which is pretty slick. But yeah, the startup power is always kind of a pain in the ass on the little guys. Michael D says, check their props are all right. But it says quad tap dancing. Ramdako says PH 2.0 getting old. Nope, the first rig was that was acting weird was BT 2.0. The second rig was PH 2.0. Rumi Tim says 4.3 sounds like it's angry. Yeah, there's probably something going on. This is the rig that slammed incredibly hard into the metal crane hook thing at Micro Mayhem. So there's probably something else going on other than the motor that spit a magnet.
Millerson says, if you're going down there, might as well shut the door so you can run the circuit. Hell yeah. I know. I forgot to shut the door every single time I recovered. Brandon Whipkin says, got a couple packs to charge for flying around the neighborhood, bugging my neighbors. Nice rewind. Thank you, dude. Roomy Tim says, Roomy spins. Ramdago says, musical race gates. What's that mean? Brandon Bean says, Juicy Flicks, Benny Roll, do wall tap, yaw, spin, rewind. I can't do any yaw, wall tap stuff on this because I have crash recovery. So when this thing wall taps, it turns the accelerometer on and it flattens itself out. It really helps me to not crash quite as often. I got your rewinds, though. I did a couple of them. Jonathan Lewis says, thoughts on B0. What's B0, Jonathan Lewis? Jonathan Lewis also asks, is it a good idea to make 6S 3.5 quads? It is not, Jonathan. There is no reason to go anything above 4S on any micros. They just don't draw enough power to benefit from the higher voltage of 6S. And to be honest with you, 6S actually hurts the micros because it's way harder on the ESCs from the extra voltage. So 6S is actually a bad idea, in my opinion, on micros. Michael D says, I think Jonathan was asking about HD0, but autocorrect. Right, of course, HD0. My thoughts are, it's good. It seems to be really good for racing, but that's about it. For freestyle, I would kind of rather have analog, mainly because there's better VTXs available for analog. HD0 right now, you've got 200 milliwatts or 1,000 milliwatts. The 1,000 milliwatt VTX is, in my opinion, way too big, way too heavy. So yeah, for right now, until there's a lightweight 500 milliwatt VTX for HD0, I don't really have any interest in it, unfortunately, because it is a great system and it is gonna hopefully stick around and keep getting better. But yeah, at the moment, the lack of VTXs is a little rough with HD0. So. And that gets us caught up on chat. Thanks for hanging out, friends. Here's some more RipSqueak flying. This is the 1507 rig with the same propellers and same setup that you guys were just seeing a minute ago, but with an Insta360 Go up front this time. Beginning of the stream, I showed you some footage from this rig with the Insta360 Go on the bottom here in the back. Now this is that same day of flying, but with the Insta360 Go up front. Thanks for hanging out, friends. I love every single one of you. I'll see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's a giveaway night, 10 o'clock Eastern time. If you want to get in on the giveaways, 3 of the 4 giveaways are through Patreon. It's explained over on the Patreon page, which is linked at CiottiFPV.com. More words go here. Oh, the 4th giveaway is super chat based. Anybody can enter. Be good. Here's some donkeying. Here's also the audio that you get out of the Insta360 Go too. It's not that bad. Not that great, but it's not that bad. Computer is just having an absolute conniption right now. Whatever. Maybe this will work.